Hello and welcome to my video. Today I'm painting the human Scoundrel from my favorite game, Gloomhaven. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to like the video and subscribe. If you have any questions about painting, or board games, or early 2000s pop punk, leave me a comment on the video or drop by my Instagram at Memoriesofwe. I greatly appreciate you hanging out, so let's get started. Alright, we're starting with a Vallejo gray primer. I put it on with the airbrush. You can paint it on or choose your own. And I'm using the airbrush to base coat the entire model in refractive green. It's a dark green color. I'm not really caring about what parts are not going to be base coated in green. This is an easy enough color to cover up. This is a good time to remind you that if you are interested in any of the products that I use during the video, go ahead and check the description down below. I have a link to all of them in the Amazon web store. Next up, I'm base coating all of the cloth parts of the Scoundrel's uniform with Mechanicus standard gray. This includes the pant legs and the sleeves of her shirt. Here I'm using some brown leather from ScaleColor to do all of the parts that I assume are going to be leather, which starting with her shoes and grabbing some of the leather pouches that are around her waist. Using black from Vallejo model color. Use your favorite black here, doesn't matter what color you use or what brand you use. Black is black. I'm doing the gloves. After letting everything dry completely, I'm covering the entire model in Nuln oil. This is just a quick and easy way to get the entire model to have the same sort of tonality to it, so all the shadows will be black. I don't recommend this for every model. Make sure that whenever you do use Nuln oil, you're using it consciously of what color it's going to give you. And I wanted her to be really dark and look like she's sort of a ninja or living in the shadows, so Nuln oil works really well for that. After that all dried, I'm coming back with medium flesh. You definitely do not want to do this before doing the black wash, as that will be very, very hard to come back from. But now that all that Nuln oil has dried, we're moving into the flesh tones. Luckily, you only have to paint her face. The face is now getting its own wash of some Reikland Fleshshade from Citadel. Now I'm blending fairy flesh into the original flesh tone gradually and doing the normal highlights that we do on faces. Starting with the cheekbones, the chin, and the nose and eyebrows, or the brow ridge, and then slowly doing less and less, just picking out those really bright spots. Back to black, and that's what I'm using to cover in the eye slits on this model's mask. Back to Mechanicus standard gray. You can see that it is actually working as a highlight because the Nuln oil colored everything down. So we're going to want to use that Mechanicus standard gray to do all of the gray parts. That's both sleeves, both legs, and there's a little bit on the chest as well. Wolf gray is how I highlighted the rest of this gray, picking out just the brightest spots in the center of the legs and the center of the arms. I'm coming back to highlight all of the green clothing here. I'm using flat green, which is a great color to start with the mid-range of this character's clothing. Now don't forget, each of these layers you're going to have to do a couple of times. Even though I'm only showing you once, each time those fade as they dry. And to get it to stay that color without slamming a bunch of paint on your model and losing all of your detail, you have to come back with a couple of thin coats. At least 2, but sometimes 3 or more. Here's one of those spots where you're going to need quite a few. Escorpina green is a very bright green, uses a lot of yellow, and therefore it doesn't cover very well. But once you do get coverage out of it, it looks perfect as the highlight color. So stick with the edges. Here I'm just trying to blend it in a little bit. I cleaned off my brush and then come back and try to smear that paint even thinner. And then highlighting all the edges with the Escorpina green. It's definitely a very awesome way to get the most punch out of greens. I'm using flat brown on all of those leather bits that we talked about before. Get the scabbards on the back, the shoes, anything that you want to be leather. Flat brown works as a great highlight color when you have Nuln oil on top of brown leather. Birch from ScaleColor is a tan, nothing really special about it. You can use any sort of tan color, khaki color, but it works really well as the final highlights for any of your leather. So here I'm just coming and dabbing it along the edges, and again, as it dries it will fade, so don't be too scared of how bright it looks, and if you don't think it's bright enough, throw another coat on. Wasn't very interested in doing any non-metallic metal for this model, so I used Vallejo silver for the sword. And I don't show it here, but I do wash the sword with Nuln oil, which is a good way to sort of dull it down and make it look at least slightly more natural than a bright, shiny silver sword. All of the accessories of the swords I am painting in gold. Now I'm taking some Agrax Earthshade, which is a brown wash, and after the gold has completely dried, same thing for the silver before doing the Nuln oil, those paints really like to reactivate, and you get a swirling mess of ink and glitter if you don't wait long enough. But brown wash is a good way to dull down that gold and make it look more natural. Finally, we're onto the hair. I wanted her to be blonde, but I wanted it to be very, very dirty, so I used pale yellow as the base color, and I'm just sort of slopping it on here and then moving it all around. I wanted the green and the Nuln oil to sort of still show through so that the hair looked natural but also kind of dirty and dingy, like she's been in the forest for a while. But this is one of the cases where it's going to take you quite a few coats to get good coverage. And then here I've added Ivory to that pale yellow to make it as bright as possible. That works as a highlight. Again, multiple coats. Do not skimp on this, or else you're not going to get really any variation in those colors. Alright, so that's it. All I did was take some Mechanicus Standard Gray and do the base as I've done for all of my models for Gloomhaven. This is a very simple model. I think all of the Gloomhaven models are really easy to work with. They provide a great canvas to paint on. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, tell me what model you would like to see painted next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching my videos. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to see more, make sure you subscribe so that you'll be alerted every time I release a new one. If you want to see two that have already been produced and were hand-picked by these two crazy kids, then you can click on the links here on the screen now. Otherwise, thank you so much for sticking around, and I'll see you all next time.